And hello and welcome back. Look at all my friends. Oh my god, the screen is like, there's so much happening on it right now, and it makes me really happy. Welcome back, everyone, to the last segment for tonight's, I guess, day of Indie Creator Spotlight. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 more guests, but this is the last crew, and we're ending with a bang with the entire cast of the Mind and the Martyr from Friends Who Roll Dice's TTRPG show. So Friends Who Roll Dice is a community-focused TTRPG Twitch channel. We have some of the founders here tonight, Drac, Jen, Cole, Ray, and Ty, as well as some of the friends that they've gained along the way. I got introduced. Oh no, we lost someone.
Immediately.
Sean,
no.
Sean.
No.
Sean.
We lost Sean. Oh no.
Sean, come back. He'll be back. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Okay.
Sean, come back.
I won't fix you. Actually, the overlay's fine, except Jen, you're split in 2, but that's, you know.
You know what? That's just a metaphor.
It's okay.
It's just a metaphor. It's okay.
I got introduced to this channel through Drac, who became a part of the Resonym community several months ago, and it's just been such a pleasure to watch this community grow and thrive. Friends Who Roll Dice describe their channel mission as fostering diverse and mindful community engagement, supporting content creators, and building lasting friendships and having fun. So thank you all so much for being here with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Do we want to start with going around and telling us like what you do on Forward, what shows you're on, etc.? Whatever you'd like to share about yourself and your relationship with Friends Who Roll Dice. Sound like a good place to start. Awesome. All right, Ty, do you want to start us off?
Sure. I'm Ty. So I got pulled into Friends Who Roll Dice because I was doing just a bunch of one-shots with everybody, and they're like, hey, we're going to do this new thing, and you should come along with us. I was like, okay. And so I help produce Mind and the Martyr by, making sure the stream runs as smooth as possible, and then I also play Jotr Quill Sharpener. He is a Zwerf Neblin artificer who is just he's smarter than he is most other things. He's smart enough to know how awkward he is, but not smart enough to fix it. He is.
Ooh, I love that description. That's fantastic, by the way. That's me in real life. Wow, I feel attacked.
I feel like everybody feels that way every once in a while, but he has got his mechanical friends, and Pavasari, his flying turtle, who's his one of his friends, and then Calamos, his hummingbird, who is also his tinkering tools. Like they're set in its wings, and he just kind of flips it over his wrist. It's really funny because I just kind of started getting involved in TTRPG communities like a month before Forward started, and what's been really interesting is sitting in on the meetings and hearing everybody kind of come up with ideas of just how we want to make everything we can better, and we just want everybody to have a wonderful time, and being around people who that's what we all want has been really, really fun, and so it made Pride Month extra exciting.
Absolutely. Cole, would you like to introduce yourself and whatever shows you're on and your involvement in Forward?
Hi, howdy, hey, I'm Cole. I play Eridan on the Mind and the Martyr, and I also play Kepri on The Gods We Know. I am the in-house artist for Forward, so I make all the things pretty. And
all of our backgrounds.
I painted everyone's backgrounds.
Wait, really? That's so cool. Are you a digital artist, or are they physical paintings?
Digital artist, but I also do traditional stuff. At least I'm trying to get back into that, but like my iPad is like literally just glued to my hands at this point.
Yeah, for sure. That's so cool. Wow.
It's always within like arm's reach in case something cool happens on stream. I'm like, sketch.
Oh, I love that so much. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's me. That's mostly what I do, and I'm also just like everybody's goblin mom, so I'm usually here just to say yes.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's me. I'm really nervous for some reason, so I just forgot everything else I was going to say.
There's nothing to be nervous about.
Rational brain knows that. Anxiety brain does not.
That is understandable. I can really quick, do we have any update on if Sean can come back? Because I can fix the overlay so Jen isn't split.
He says he'll be back
Sean is on
shortly.
the way.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry, Jen. You're split in half. If they can't join us, I can like duplicate and crop you and push you back to where you need to be.
I like it.
Wonderful.
You know what? I'm of two minds.
I love that. I mean, you're in the two different spaces. I love it. I love it. The real life and the imaginary life. I love it. All right, Drac, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Drac or Draconics, but Drac is shorter and just easy to spell. I am a co-founder of Friends Roll Dice as well. I kind of got pulled into it. I think they kind of put it together before I got pulled into it. I think it kind of became a thing before, and then they pulled me in. I also play a Yuan-Ti pirate warlock named Athanos on the Mind and Martyr. And I'm going to be playing a character that in another campaign that we have coming soon that Rachel's going to be in as well.
I am so excited. I don't know how much we're allowed to talk about that, but I am so pumped to get to stream with you all. I'm very excited.
We can talk about it. It's cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to be on one of the Friends Who Roll Dice shows starting in a couple months, and I am so excited. I'm so excited. So thank you all for letting me just crash.
I mean, you're having us on yours, so
I mean, fair.
It's only fair.
It's only fair. Yeah, you come on for 2 hours, I can come on indefinitely. I mean, that's just how this kind of stuff works.
Isn't that how it works?
It's a fair trade, you know. 2 hours for eternity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna be a Monster Hearts game.
I think if we've learned anything from quarantine, time as a construct.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's all I really do in Forward. I guess I throw in ideas for like Forward and stuff like that, but essentially that's pretty much it. I'm not as intense like as an in-house artist like Cole. So
everyone contributes in their own way. Yeah, thank you so much, Drac. Adam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Adam. For Forward, I am mainly focused on the Mind and the Martyr. I do the post-production. So if you're catching it on YouTube or podcast, all the music and sound effects that you're hearing there, that's me. It's a lot of fun to do, especially when you make little ice goblins go. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yay, welcome back! Woohoo!
Sorry about that.
And I play Orin Thistlefoot on the Mind and the Martyr, the halfling monk, who has been sent on a recon mission, and it's so much bigger than he could have possibly imagined because Ray is a genius.
Amazing. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I'm just gonna switch everyone's name tags back around again. So we've got Drac is now over here. There we go. Okay, while I'm doing this, Ray, would you like to introduce yourself while I'm moving name tags everywhere?
Sure thing. I'm Ray, co-founder of Friends Who Roll Dice. I am the DM for the Mind of the Martyr, as well as part of the reason the homebrew world exists. I also play on our other show as Tobias, my gunslinger bard on The Gods We Know, which is very exciting. I'm involved in all kinds of stuff here, there, and everywhere at the minute that's kind of just starting up. Playing over with the transient folks, helping, trying to help with the setup along with the rest of the lovely people here for when we roll out our Monster Hearts campaign. That's me.
Awesome. Jen?
I feel whole again all of a sudden. Like I was in 2 pieces and now I am in 1.
You're back.
Yes.
I think I have everyone's names right, so let me know if I mess them up. But if you have Twitch open, make sure I've got everyone's tags in the right spots now.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yep.
So, I'm one of the co-founders of Friends Who Roll Dice. And I hope we get a chance to talk about how we got our name because it's friggin' hilarious. And I need to call Drac out before actually we continue because Drac super underestimated how much he does for this channel. Like he is on there on our business chat every day, multiple times a day. Like no, Drac, I'm not letting you get it. Love you.
Don't let him get away with that.
No. Yeah. So I'm one of the founders, and I do a lot of the organizational stuff. I guess I'm like the one who is like, hey, we should have an agenda for this meeting.
Everyone needs that. We all need that person in everything that we do, for sure.
That's sort of my role. And I helped organize our Pride Month. And that was fantastic and fun and awesome. And let's see, on Mind and the Martyr, I play Ishtin, the Triton fighter, who is, I think, a little grumpy, maybe a little bit. sort of, kind of scary. And then for the gods we know, the next day, I'm mute, and
I love that.
I just the world is just full of beauty, and I just want everybody to be happy. I'll kick your ass if you're not, but
I love that.
So those are my two folks. And then I'm going to be GMing Monster Hearts with Ray.
Yay!
And Jack. It's going to be fantastic. And it's
literally
so cool.
I need that campaign in my life right now. Like, I am literally looking forward to it so much. It's like this little light at the end of the shittiness that has been like this time right now. I'm just so excited to be a part of a new game. I'm really excited.
And I realize we're starting like mid-September, so we're starting right as the school year starts.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's on brand. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
absolutely. The first year in a long time I'm not going back to school. I get to go to school in an imaginary world, which is exciting.
Yes, and it's sort of like we all get to go back to those ages, but be who we wish we could have been.
Mm-hmm.
But also a monster, so maybe not totally, but
I'm so excited to do high school right this time. So excited.
Yes.
I wish I was
will
a
make
monster
it
in high school.
Yeah, I was going to say though, I'm going to make high school so wrong for you too. We're going to keep it feral. But also like I just run one shots all the time, and we kind of have this awesome like casual approach now to one shots that I love, which is like, hey, are there people who want to stream the thing? Okay, cool. Can someone produce? Cool. We're going to do it now.
I love it.
So yeah.
We had a return of Oswald.
Yes.
Well, that's
Oswald.
me.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. We had an engagement.
That character just turned into everything I never expected, and it makes me very happy. I talked about it a little bit at the end of the part 2, but I was like, this is going to be my brooding character, because I'm always like, I tend to go like the more comedic like route. I like to be that kind of like goofy person in my campaigns, and I was like, I'm gonna be so serious, but I had to have something a little silly, so I was like, he'll have a lisp. That'll be his big issue, is that he wants to be really intimidating, but he has this lisp. And then you immediately threw like love interest after love interest at me, and I was like, oh, I guess he's like soft now. And I like, he's just become this really precious bean that I'm just, thank you so much, Jen, for taking it and making it so not what I expected, but I'm so happy. It's so much more fun to play, like with how he's turned out now.
That was a mutual creation.
For
that
sure.
Was a mutual creation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And last but not least, Sean, do you want to introduce yourself?
Howdy, I'm Sean, at NoTweetSean on Twitter. I'm one of the administrators over at Thread Raiders, but I was brought into this lovely group of people and have just tried to help as much as I can. Tried to help set them up with sponsors and just help organize, but really they do a lot more work than I do when it comes to Friends Who Roll Dice, if I'm honest, because I'm busy over at Thread Raiders trying to do charity streams, but I try to do as much as I can. I play Soup on the Mind and the Martyr. I'm in a few campaigns and a bunch of different channels.
That's awesome. Yeah, feel free to plug anything, like if you're on other shows and stuff, like that's totally fair. So yeah.
I play Horus Green Eye, a devilish dwarf on Duval and Dragons every other Sunday on So Many Games.
Woo!
And then I play in a lot of one-shots. But other than that, I think those are my only regular games that are going on right now that are streamed.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for the introductions. This first question is kind of for whoever wants to take it. And we've touched on a little bit who your characters are in these various shows, but could we get quick pitches for your two main long-running shows, The Mind and the Martyr and The Gods We Know, for anyone who's interested in checking them out? And that can be for whoever wants to answer that question.
I can do a pitch. I like pitching.
Do it. I mean, it's not like elevator. There's no pressure. It doesn't have to be like 30 seconds or less, but like explain the show in like
totally
for someone who's never watched it before.
Totally. I'll take The Gods We Know. Ray, do you want to take Mind and the Martyr since it's your baby?
Sure.
Okay. So The Gods We Know, we've been playing for almost a year now. But we're very jump-inable. Like you can get updated with us. And we're usually like dramatic enough in each and funny enough in each episode that like it's entertaining even if you don't totally know the plot. I always say that I think the best role-playing games are groups of people who love each other, playing groups of people learning how to love each other. And if I were going to say what the theme of that show is, it's that in a really profound way. And like learning about what family means to us and what we want in our lives in the backdrop of an epic struggle against an evil necromantic god. So there's that too. But to give an example, like Cole and I play twins who were raised in a monastery by like kind of cold, not very parental monks who just discovered that the person who raised them secretly loved us all along and collected all of our like childhood drawings and like hid them in this, and it's just so, yeah, it's very, and we had a proposal and a wedding a few episodes ago.
Exciting.
So right, yeah, so it's got a lot of heart, let me put it that way, and it's friggin' funny.
That was
you also
awesome.
have Adam as our DM, so like you never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
Every session I sit down, I'm like, well, here we go, buckle up.
If
That's
different
the
Adam, I
best.
just want to point out real quick.
That's Adam Prime, not me.
Oh yes, Adamas Lamas.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Yeah. The Mind of the Martyr is an interesting high fantasy setting. It's a big blend of experiences and campaigns and cultures that players have directly interjected and developed into the game. The setting has been around for like 8 years now, so it's got like 8 years worth of all of these different things that people have just gone ahead, and I basically said, hey, go for it, do what you want. The current story we're going through is essentially a group of individuals who, some of them are very closely connected and some of them are almost adversarial at the beginning, slowly but surely beginning to realize that they are, for one reason or another, on this journey together, and they're slowly but surely getting to that point where they're beginning to trust each other as they begin to unravel the many mysteries that seem to be appearing. And for every question that is asked and to every question that is answered, there are 3 more.
I love
Yeah.
Excited!
I just want to say, D&D Jordan, thank you for that question. I will ask that once we get more into everyone's individual characters. But yeah, if you have any questions in chat, please feel free to drop them in there, and I'll get to them as they kind of fit in the flow of what we're going to talk about. All right, so that was a great introduction to the two main shows that are on the channel right now. So the next question is kind of another big one for whoever wants to take it. How, and we've like touched on it a little bit, but how the heck, like my first is kind of just like, how did this come to be? Where did it start? Where was the seed for streaming? Who found who? And like, how did we get here? And that can be whatever kind of story you want to tell with that. Just kind of how, who started it? Where did it come from? If you remember, even. I know it's been a hot minute, but yeah, that's for whoever wants.
I mean,
to
I
take
have
that.
the short version.
Yeah, whatever, long, short, we have time.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We've, a few of us bounced around a few different communities and then met each other, played for a little while, and then just went, we can do this better. And we just went ahead and no, we wanted to cultivate a place where we can go ahead and drop the kind of stigmatism around TTRPGs. We wanted to go ahead and make a place where everyone feels secure and it's open and you can go ahead and be who you are in your games, I guess, probably a way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
TTRPGs, as much as some people may not want to admit it, there is a lot of stigmatism and a lot of gatekeeping, let's say, involved in the hobby, not just with D&D, but a lot of different systems as well. And part of the reason why we made Friends Who Roll Dice is because we wanted to go ahead and say, no, that's not okay. You are who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and that's absolutely fine. And we want to go ahead and encourage that. So yeah, anyone else feel free to chip in.
Piggybacking off that, I think too, like after we all played together and like Jen was saying, like how close we got in the Gods We Know and slowly bringing in other people, we just felt like I talk to these people every single day. Like I message everyone every day. And I think part of it too was that we want other people to have this. We want people to feel comfortable at the tables that they're at, and whether if it's at our table or if we can link people so that they can make these friendships too, that's what we want. We want people to have fun at the table. Friends who roll dice.
I love that. I feel like you've achieved that really well. I mean, even from the couple of one-shots that I've jumped in on, it's just such a welcoming community, and the fact that you do those one-shots with your community is so great, and it does feel very homey, like in a good way. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels like, I'm trying to think about how to describe it, but it feels like a home game that you're just sharing with people, and it doesn't feel that kind of, sometimes TTRPG shows can feel kind of like, not that you're underproduced, but you're like sticky and like kind of like, producey, and like you have managed to be high quality without feeling like, I don't know, corporate, for lack of a better word. Like it just comes off as like friends, which makes me really happy. I mean, that was very much my inspiration for starting the Resonym channel. I was like, we all hang out after work, and like we should just do that and share that with everyone else. If they don't have people to hang out with after work, we'll be here and we'll be dicking around playing video games. And I feel like you have also had a similar inspiration, and you've done that really well, and that's not an easy thing to do. So I commend you all so much for that. Oh gosh, don't cry! You're gonna get a lot of compliments in the next hour. Get very used to it.
It's Cole. It's not difficult. It's really not.
He's just gonna be in tears for the rest of the interview.
Jen is a tougher nut to crack sometimes.
Thank you so much for saying that, though, Rachel. That's definitely our goal, is to create an environment like that. And so to hear you say that immediately you felt that coming in really means a lot to us. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And we're also so open to people telling us if it's not feeling that way, because we're in the Discord, we're communicating with everybody. We want cast members to be playing with folks and you to know us and know that we're just part of the community too, so that people can approach us and tell us that. I think another sort of driving philosophy that we have, and it's funny because this came out of like a year-long conversation with my wife, who, when I started to play TTRPGs again, was like, I don't get it. This is weird. And I don't understand. And now she plays sometimes, but she was like, I don't get it. Why do you care so much? It's a game. It's just a game. And it's not. It's more than a game. And it's about the relationships that you develop with the people that you play. I can't think of any way to get closer to people than to create these stories together. And it's also about what you learn about yourself within your characters, like sometimes in spite of yourself. And so we want a place that really nurtures an environment where you can develop that and build that and have that soul that's underneath TTRPGs, and not feel like that's interfered with by having to kind of show your stuff, or having to feel insecure or judged, or
that actually go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna piggyback off of that, saying one of the things, like creating a space where you can explore something that might not be part of your personality or things like that. Because like I'm not timid, I'm just not. But exploring how like timid, like it being in the skin of somebody who is extremely timid and afraid of a lot of things, like has been really kind of fun and informative. And in our off-stream Monster Hearts game that I was playing, I got to explore somebody I designed to be the opposite of me in high school. And then I like by the end of it, Jen's like, "Oh, he's so relatable." I was like, "No, how did he become relatable?"
Amazing.
To explore these things and create like kind of our crusade against horror stories when people try to and they're not accepted when they try to do this other places is a huge aspect, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. This was kind of something that came up when I was interviewing earlier today, Board Game House, which is a board game stream that I'm friends with, about how not putting on like a guise when you stream. And I was as you were talking, like you're playing characters on stream, like how do you even like come across as real people? And you've all done that so well. Like there's something about the way that this channel is built that even though you're playing characters every night, like you're all very genuine underneath that. And I think that's really important. Like it's hard enough to do that when it's just you in front of a camera. It's even hard to do that when you're also playing a character and you're doing all this other stuff. And I just think that that's really cool. And you've all done that really well. So I just want to say again, commend you all on that. Building, like getting that across. Yeah.
You're gonna kill Cole by the end of this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Cole is gonna turn inside out.
Listen, I'm just the end of this as well. Like both of you are just like.
Right?
Listen, I'm just the town crier. I just cry a lot, okay?
Oh, town crier. I love that that so much.
That's funny.
I'm doing my little best.
I feel
I
like
think stems
Cole
that we're all friends. We all love each other,
Yeah.
and so like when we're playing together, it's easy.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny. Like Jen and I actually live kind of in the same city.
Oh, cool.
We play in a home game together.
Aw.
And they got me into Friends Who Roll Dice and everything and streaming, playing D&D. I'm still a D&D baby. I'm DMing like my third time tonight.
Ooh, exciting. Good luck.
Yeah.
I feel baby. What the hell am I? What?
we have a couple adorable, wonderful D&D babies.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just it's amazing to me just the love in this group.
Mhm.
Like I haven't met any of these people in person, but they're amazing and they're my family, and it's just fantastic.
I love you too.
Aw.
Can't wait to hug you in real life one day.
I know, right?
Some days the day will come.
It's gonna happen.
The world
It's gonna
fixes
happen.
itself.
Gonna
Yes.
happen.
Oh
And
my
I
God. I want to
think,
be. I want to be
Ray,
a fly on the wall when you all meet each other in real life. I just want to be there. It's just gonna be a lot of tears.
Oh, you'll get dragged in somehow.
Aw.
Yeah. And I think
We'll
like I
find you.
felt that spirit with the Monster Hearts group that we're gonna have in September too. Like
Me too.
just cultivating that spirit is part of what we want to do, even when we're just doing one shots, of just feeling like we get some time to kind of be with each other and connect with people and create friendships that might last beyond like just that one shot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
So we can. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure one of the question was, how do we start streaming D&D?
I mean-
It's just-
Where'd we go?
Oh
So
man.
I don't know. I'll
What's
be
that?
story mine. So I started playing D&D last September, mid-September. I joined
What
the
a wee
D&D
bab.
club in my university. I know, yeah. But I went through a lot of like levels of inspiration.
Mhm.
So I've been watching D&D campaigns, not just D&D, TTRPGs in general, for like probably years now, like 3 or 4 years. But only recently felt like I could play, because honestly, and I don't know if I should mention, but I mean, in this climate it's very relevant.
Mhm.
There aren't many Black people in at least stream TTRPG games. And I don't know if it was subconscious or not, but it just I just didn't think, I just thought, I'll just watch him. Playing him is not really my thing. And then sometime last year, I think it's like sometime in August, I can't remember, this channel that I love, they had one of the best shows. I highly recommend it, Hyper RPG, which they call
Oh
it
yeah,
99.
yeah.
1991 show. So that was the first TTRPG I watched that had like a consistent Black cast member who was actually important to the show as well. Like they had a very important role in that show. It was Black Nerd for the first season, Black Nerd on Twitter, and Abria Quiddy in the second season. And after that, I was like, oh, maybe playing is it is a place for me. You know, I might as well play. So I played it and I loved it. And then Rachel
Oh, that's me.
decided that they were going.
No, don't. Are you gonna bring up the shitty one shot I did? Don't you dare!
It wasn't shit.
No!
It was great. It was so good. Okay, so basically,
No, both of us.
so basically, Rachel was like, I can't remember what the milestone was, but you were like, we're gonna play you're gonna run a run shot with the Resonym group once we hit that follower goal. And Rachel was so nervous about it.
So scared.
But
I was
still
so
followed
scared.
through. And to me, I was like, wow, that's kind of low-key inspirational. I'm terrified of streaming, but Rachel's still doing it. I
If
should give it a
Rachel
try.
can do it, you can do it. If I'm here, you can do it too.
Yeah, so I jumped into a TTRPG channel that was also like big about bringing like community members to play one shots. Other Doc, and we played a game called Medical Bay 3, which is and
Oh, I
basically
remember that.
aliens-
I watched that. I
Yeah.
remember you put in our
Yeah.
Discord like I'm streaming for the first time. I
so
watched the
nervous.
shit out of that. That was so fun. Because I
Yeah,
just
and
always love
that
seeing
was a-
community members like in real life doing real things. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is Drac. That's cool. Look at you now.
Yeah, I think that was the first time you saw my face.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was for sure. Yeah.
And that was the first time I met Jen. That was when I first met Jen and played with Jen. And I was very nervous, but Jen gave me a lot of fun things to run with while role playing. And then apparently I don't really understand why still, but Jen was like, I like this guy. Let's bring him in.
I was really immediately like, no, come play with me more.
Yeah.
No, you must.
You need
And
someone like that.
Yeah, I don't know why, like, he doesn't like see that about himself, because I think anyone who plays with Drac almost immediately is like, oh, I want to keep
Falls in
playing with
love.
this person. Yeah, like both like the quality of your role playing, because like even then, like you were taking stuff that we were putting out there and taking it and I'm killing you now, taking it and like weaving it into your own, story. Like
it wasn't going to be aimed at me. God damn.
Yeah, that wonderful like back and forth in RPGs where you're building stories together and you're playing off of you were immediately doing that, and then just the person that you are wanting to spend more time in your presence. And that's what everybody feels when they play with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. You had me at all he sees are my eyes in darkness. I was like, I love this guy.
I only brought this up so I can be like, the reason I'm here is because of Rachel. Okay, fine. I guess they're going to be something into that.
I think, was our first game together Impulse Drive?
Yeah. You played Moglov and I played another four-armed character.
Yeah.
Also, my face hurts so much from smiling already.
I know, right?
This is such a wholesome time. I'm so happy. I'm friggin' like, oh my god, y'all are so sweet. Good lord. Okay, so if anyone else has anything else they want to say about that, feel free to jump in.
I just feel like the story of how we got our name is really like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Tell us.
Because like
Story
we're
or
not
kind
always,
of lack thereof.
we're not always this sweet. We have our moments. We're not always. Every once in a while, we work
The
really close
tea.
together, and we're like
We're siblings locked in a room together.
Yes. So like
We love each other so much, but sometimes.
Yeah. And when we decided we were doing the channel, we were like, we'll come up with a name. Let's just set up a chat and we'll all just talk. And people would throw out ideas. And then we all had like totally
1 month
different
later.
ideas. Is Ty like just putting his hand over his face? It's great. And like someone would suggest something and then be like, no, I don't like that. And then they'd be like, you hurt my feelings. And we'd be like, well, your name sucks. Like it was like,
Oh
so
lord.
like,
Oh my
we
god.
like had, well, nobody actually said it that
Yeah.
way. We just,
Yeah.
said
It's
it.
serious,
And
but
Cole and
names
I
are serious
especially-
business. I mean, we do that too when we're naming our board games. It is probably the most feral time in our offices when
Yes.
we're like, that name's stupid.
Yes.
I'm not having my name on that game that's called that. Like absolutely
Yes,
not.
it's like jugular. And Cole and I, who play sisters in our game, like we were definitely sisters at that point.
Yeah.
And then Cole just sort of in desperation created this chat like to try to fix this problem called Friends Who Roll Dice and Cry. And then one of our other founders was like, wait a second.
I love it. I love it.
And then they pointed out that like the acronym spells forward.
Which is so cool. I just realized that recently. Like, it makes me very happy.
And we were like, oh.
It's great.
Oh,
I
like
did
that.
it as a joke, so it's like, I don't know what we're called, and I'm just sad.
Wow, me all the time. Okay. That's awesome. No, that gives me a much better picture of how it like all came about. So I guess we can jump into D&D. Jordan had a question, and I think now is probably a good time to address that. Is what was the inspiration behind all the characters that you're playing in the Mind and the Martyr right now? However you want to define inspiration, whether it was like from a previous campaign you want to do the exact opposite, or like you've always wanted to play this race or class or whatever. What was the inspiration for all of your characters?
Do you want me to start or?
You can start if
right,
you'd
yeah,
like,
we can
but
start
if someone
whenever.
else wants to jump in, that's fine.
Yeah, we can go around the horn.
Cool. All right, then that would be you first, Ty.
So I always liked the idea of the artificer class, and it's always really cool, and getting to explain things outside of it and being a character who sees the world in a certain way. Like I wanted to play a character who just saw everything as puzzle pieces to be put together. And it's really funny because I'm sure you've seen, he often will come up with wild ideas that have nothing to do, but he'll see strings. And so like where a normal person would be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Jotra will be like, well, what if? And then like try to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Like one of the funny things is his overall personality is based off of my dog.
I love that.
I have a
I love
puppy
that.
who is
did not know that.
He's super sweet. Nobody else knows this, by the way. That's why everybody's losing it. He's this super sweet, like little puppy boy, and he just he's really delicate and sensitive, but he loves everything and everybody. So instead of loving people, I just shifted that to his ideas and his creations, and so
Wait,
he
that's
is.
so cool.
I'm playing my super sensitive dog who loves to invent things and is way too smart for his own good, and he just doesn't understand people, but he just really wants to, and he just wants to get there.
I love that so much.
That is awesome.
Fantastic.
I love him even more. Everything is so much, y'all.
The
Yeah.
temptation now to just have an NPC walk up to Jotaro and just go, "Who's a good boy?"
Bork.
I feel like
It
she
already
should have done
happened.
that already. Like she's done the
Military Santa Claus did it.
Yes.
I was gonna say it's already happened.
Oh,
What are you
Lord.
Military
talking
Santa
about?
Claus.
That
Yes,
means
yes,
military
yes.
Santa Claus. Oh god.
His name is Reagan in the campaign.
All of the
Forever
NPCs
after
are going to be
military
named
Santa
after.
Claus. Yeah.
Okay, Cole, would you like to describe your inspiration?
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's the thing. I'm a very visual person. I don't know if that's obvious or not. And basically, I just really love the moon. I basically just wanted a moon tiefling. Like that was it. I love the moon, and I also wanted to play like a more. I love spellcasters, but I also wanted to be like more in the fight because I also like melee. So I was like, I want to play a Tinky Wizard. Is that a thing? And I've never played the blade singing class before, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have so much fun with this. As for her insane design, I don't know why I did that to myself, because as I was drawing her, I was like, oh, I have made a tactical error. I'm too bad. I can't do
It's
do
so
math.
awesome, though.
Oh, it only took me like a month. It was fine. I also just like really liked the concept of a clockwork wig. It was really all visual. That was my inspiration. For the amnesia thing though, I'm kind of in a period in my life where I'm learning so much about myself. I kind of wanted to play a character that was going to be more flexible. So hence the amnesia, and her not remembering her past, and sort of kind of wanted to, like, as she's learning about the things that she's done, like coming to terms with that and recognizing that, yes, these things happen, but they don't define me. And I can forge myself and I can do better going forward. And if I just forgive myself first.
Yeah. It's great.
So,
I love that.
yeah, that's Aridin.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I always find amnesia or like memory loss a really fun thing in TTRPGs because it kind of lets, at least for me, in my experience with it, it kind of lets the DM kind of help guide your character and like see where they want them to go. And sometimes when you're having a hard time seeing how your character fits in the world, letting someone who understands the world in its entirety kind of help guide you to where you should fit into, or like where you fit in the past, can just be really fun. So yeah, I think that's awesome.
I basically handed Ray this character and said, "Fuck me up, fam."
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm so here
And
for
I
it.
let him go.
And there was no one better to do that than Ray. Like,
Yeah.
just hand a character to Ray, and he will make it amazing.
Make me cry, please.
Yep. Yep.
I mean,
Boy, did
if
he
you're
ever.
not, I mean, if you're not crying when you're playing TTRPGs,
Oh, yeah.
are you
You're
really
not doing it
playing?
wrong. Yeah.
Just getting started.
Uh-oh, Raggy.
Ruh-roh.
All right, Drac, your character?
Ooh, okay. My character was originally for a different campaign.
Oh.
After getting a taste for streaming, I kind of applied. It sounds weird when I say apply, but I guess that's what I did. I applied for another game, another campaign, in another channel. I don't think it's very active now, so I guess
You
it's
made
good.
the
I
right
brought it over.
choice, yeah.
Yeah, but that game ended up not happening at all, and then got told like, hey, we're gonna have a D&D show on our channel. Do you want to play? I was like, hell yeah, I have a whole character already.
Oh, awesome.
Let's play.
That's awesome.
So I'm playing a Yuan-Ti warlock because I just haven't seen anyone play a Yuan-Ti. I've only seen like the classic like elves, tieflings, gnomes, dwarves, all of those like very typical things. So I wanted to play Yuan-Ti because it's just different. I thought it was something I could mess around with. And then I saw an Unearthed Arcana's subclass for Warlock, Lyco, I think it's called Lyco in the Deep, where you have a like a water patron. And I was like, I have to have this. Come on. And if I have this, I have to be a pirate. There's no way I can't be a pirate. So just those things just went together perfectly. And then I ended up making Athenos. And I had to watch, I needed some like inspiration for pirates. So I watched all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And while watching it, I saw Jack Sparrow. I was like, I kind of like his character. I might model my character at least a little bit.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm playing like a very confident Yuan-Ti pirate. I did a little bit of just straight up arrogance because he knows he's gorgeous, you know. So
which is so fun to play. Like
to be fair, the entire party knows.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
I did that mainly because it's way out of my comfort zone. I usually play the nervous, timid characters because it's way more natural for me to slip into. But Athenos is just the exact opposite. So I just thought, might as well just jump into the deep end with this and play someone who's self-confident as to a fault.
Love it.
And there's the switch. You see it. It's like.
Okay. So we just did Adam. Ray, I have questions for you, but we'll get to those later.
Let the players. We'll
finish with Jen and Sean about your character inspirations.
Tell us everything.
Yes.
So Soup is probably the most secretive and reserved character of all of the characters in Mind and the Martyr. I love, there's so many elements that go into Soup. I don't know where to start. So Soup was originally made for a play test for something I can't talk about. But he is, he started out, I was just like, I've never played a kobold. I'll play a kobold. I like playing small guys. Small guys are fun.
I would agree.
Makes for good comic relief. Like it's easy to, get into fun. I noticed all the characters here, super deep characters, really great players, gonna be awesome role playing. Like as we did session 0, and I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, we need a character to break the tension. That's just gonna be kind of.
I feel that's usually me in my games. I can super relate to, like, I just need someone to just be like, ba-ba-da, like I get that for sure.
So I was like, I want to make a simple character. But then I started getting to work on his backstory, and Ray can talk about this. I got really deep into his backstory. I decided I wanted to, because we have so many characters in campaigns, or at least in campaigns that I've played in, that are very intelligent, that have a basic, like, even if they're not intelligent, they have like a basic understanding of like how the world works.
Yeah.
And Soup, what I was I took someone kind of out of the wild and was like, okay, this is a person who has limited understanding of like social cues, basic just etiquette and stuff. And so he just goes by what he sees. And it works as a good mirror for a party of like someone who doesn't know what's going on will just be like, oh, so you do that because of that, right? And they're like, what? No, wait, I don't do that. What are you talking about?
Right.
So it's good for like introspection on other characters, good mirror character. And I just like playing a funny, simple character that is just trying to understand the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And comes from a very rough background.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Jen, the inspiration for your character to wrap us up.
And all right. Sometimes it's hard actually for me to even know where a character came from until I play them for a while.
For sure.
Yeah. And so I think I end up with these sort of like scenes in my head, or relationships that I think about. And then I build a character that incorporates those, and then slowly it becomes really clear to me why I'm building that character. So for Ishtin, I would say that one of the main themes for her is shame, that she's been marked by her culture and, well, not her specific culture, but the world, and seen as an outcast by virtually everyone, and how to be herself and sustain her sense of pride and her sense of wholeness in the face of that. And that was really like just kind of wrestling with the idea of shame, and loss and regret.
Yeah.
but at the same time, and kind of counterbalancing that, I knew that I wanted her to be a parent, and have like that special place in her heart, that bond to someone, even though she can't be there with her.
Right.
And then also, like, I like to have relationships. Like Cole and I came into the Gods We Know as sisters, and Drac and I came into this one as friends, and we have this really interesting, I think, ambiguous kind of relationship, and it's a very loving and caring one, but it doesn't fit into the normal mode, I think, of the way that we expect relationships to be portrayed in TTRPGs. It's like, it's mostly platonic, but there's a little bit more like they really do love each other in a really deep way, and they have a bond that's very unique and that's formalized, and so it's just very different and ambiguous, and I loved that, and I loved coming in with that friendship of like two outcasts who are clinging to each other. And I think, you know, that's been, as a queer person, that's been experienced in my life, as being one of the outcasts who's like shamed by the world around me, and having to having to become myself and be myself in the face of that, and clinging to other outcasts. And like, I didn't think about that until I played Ishtin for a while, and then I was like, right, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I'm sure that I will discover more about what it is about her that drew me in as I keep playing, but those are the big themes right now.
Ooh, that actually leads me very well into the next question. Again, this is for I guess this actually works for, I think it works for everyone, Ray. I think you can also probably spin this in a way that works for you as well, which is, what have you learned about yourself through this game, or through your character, and Ray through, you know, DMing these folks? And you can take that however you want. Just like something you've learned maybe from how you've related to your character, or this could also be like streaming, how you relate to streaming, like playing in front of other people, just something that you've learned about yourself, if you want to share that through this experience.
So with Ray. Ray hasn't.
Yeah, go for it, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good place to start.
Sure. I guess for me, this entire thing was a bit of an experiment as to whether my style of DMing would work in a streaming setting, I guess. I've always DM'd games quite rules light. I like to bend systems. I like to break them in order to make sure that people have the best time.
Yeah.
So for me, when we were making Mind and the Martyr, there was a couple of times where it was like, maybe this system, maybe that system. But in the end, we settled on 5e. Mainly for me, that was because I wanted to show that even though it's the biggest system and it has all of these tropes and these stigmatisms, you don't have to lean into them.
Right.
And that was kind of where I wanted to go and say, hey, this is your freedom, take it. So for me, I guess it was more just discovering, hey, this actually kind of works.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone else has an answer to that, otherwise we can move along.
Oh, I think I know one thing I've been exploring with Jotra is how it feels to be run over, like not standing up for yourself. Because like I developed early, when I was really young, you know, I had a temper and refused to be run over. But like, what good things can happen actually from getting run over and letting other people speak and standing in the back and just analyzing and sitting back and listening, rather than being insistent on an idea that you have, or being insistent on anything, like being not in charge, or not even wanting to be in charge, but wanting to be part of it in a way that isn't any control at all, and without without expecting any sort of privilege to speak in any way, shape, or form. And just being that has been quite different and really interesting to explore. And it's one thing I always try to, my whole life approach is, you know, start kind and move from there. And so being the person who needs the kindness has been really interesting, and having wonderful players who give it when it's needed, and also makes him, and doesn't give it to him when he doesn't deserve it, is another thing that has been really interesting, because that's another one of those TTRPG tropes that, you know, somebody feel bad, we make them feel better, except for, you know, that's not going to, some people and players who are willing to make it the best for the character has been really interesting for Jotra to explore. I think Jotra and Ishton's relationship and its growth has been wild, and we've fought, we yelled, and like it's been really interesting.
Yeah.
And yet Ishton sees Jotra as the closest to her daughter of all. Like Jotra is, just last session, she got to sort of describe her daughter, and Jotra like listened and realized that she was describing him too. And it was beautiful. And actually, like, I think overall, like you see this in the relationships, and I think this flows from the way that Ray builds his worlds and his stories. Like, there's a lot of ambiguity in general. Like, there's not like one, like, they're not the good guys and the bad guys, really. There's not really a BBEG. There's a world where you can judge for yourself. Like, there's a ruling body called the Magicanum, and you can make your own decision as a character if that's a organization that you want to support or that you don't, and the group doesn't have total agreement on that. We have like Eridan's character and my character who have been on opposite sides. Now Eridan has discovered of that particular thing, and in fact have been learned that they have been combatants with each other, and having to kind of work in the gray area and not the black and white in the world. And it makes the relationships more interesting and more profound. It's not immediately like, yay, party. Like, there's a lot of work that's done. And then the world to me is so much richer and so much more evocative of themes and things that I experience in my life, because it's not all black and white, and it's not just about getting the satisfaction of being the good guy who beats the bad guy. Sometimes it's like, wow, maybe I'm sometimes the bad guy.
Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A giant game of am I the asshole? Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. And I think we've not been playing for all that long. It's just like 3 months, but the depth of character, and I think it really comes from the way that Ray sets up a world to facilitate that, to being more human and more real and less fantasy trope, and less focused on a simple narrative of good versus evil.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just gonna go on a quick side tangent. I love that like Ishton and Eridan are like two sides of a coin. Because they really because both of their stories are in shame.
Yes.
They're both dealing with different kinds of shame, but we didn't plan that.
No,
that just happened.
Oh, I didn't even think about that until you just said it, and it's so true.
Yeah,
absolutely true.
Different kinds of shame and different ends of where they stand. Well, I mean, I think they're on the same side of where they stand now, but like they were on opposite sides.
Yeah.
We fought.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Probably kicked my ass.
for me, is Jotra's just learning shame, and you both are teaching him very different lessons about shame. And so, like both of the way you both are exploring it and moving down there, and Jotra, who has just hit his shame spike where he knows they know, and now they're hunting him, and he doesn't know what to do, and he's getting both great advice from both sides, but he's stuck in the middle. It's been really fun for me to be just holding on to each hand because I'm Jotra.
Absolutely.
We really are kind of like the Jotra moms, but like the
opposite ends. Oh, I'm the nice mom.
I just have the picture in my head of like the two people like holding the child like together, and the child's like wee, like being lifted up,
getting swung. Yeah.
Oh no, I love it. Also, I love Eridan and Jotra's relationship too. It just makes my heart so happy. And I love that Ashtalora is everybody's support cat.
It is not mine. I do not want a princess cat.
That's fair.
Cats and fish do not get along.
I love that cat so much.
I wasn't in last week's episode. I was not feeling so great, so I listened to the episode, so I know what's happening when I come in on Monday. And, guys, there was a part in the episode last week where someone was like, oh, it was Jotra. I'm like, I'm gonna give Ashtalora to Orin, and I was just like, yes.
Amazing.
Been solidified.
Ashtalora is Eridan's Tressum familiar, so it is a black cat with orange eyes and wings.
Wonderful.
It's adorable.
I would say from playing Soup, a little personal thing here. I personally love challenging people's precepts or like pre-existing ideas on
Mhm.
things, but I'm a little fearful to do it sometimes because, you know, people stick pretty close to their guns.
Yeah.
But as Soup, I love playing Soup because Soup comes at it from a different angle. He's not
Mhm.
really interested in pushing people's ideas. He just does because he doesn't have any.
Right.
So that's what I love playing.
I love that. I love that so much.
I guess I realized how easy it is for me to slip between them. When I was in, I guess, the equivalent of high school, in secondary school.
Mhm.
In primary school, I got bullied a lot, and then in secondary school, puberty hit me hard when it came to muscle growth.
Yeah.
So in primary school, because I didn't have that muscle growth, I just put all of my effort into studying. So I was pretty smart. And then when secondary school came, I got built. So then I was really smart and good at sports. So I had all this stuff going great for me. And for some reason in my head, I meant, oh, I must be better than everyone.
Mhm.
So I went through my when I remember it, I hate it. I hate myself back then, but I went through my arrogant, painfully arrogant phase.
Mhm.
And playing Athenos, it doesn't worry me because I feel more comfortable not to be an arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
But it was surprising how easily it was for me to just reach back there and pull back high school, secondary school, drag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so that was a thing I definitely learned that was quite fun. Also, I learned playing Athenos was I get attached to fictional characters a lot faster than I thought I could.
It'll get ya. It'll get ya.
That's
Yeah.
not a goddamn mood.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
First
Wait a
time-
minute, I don't know anything about that.
The first time I noticed that was when we were making getting art for our characters, and Cole drew Athenos, and I cried. I didn't see that coming.
I love it though. I
didn't expect
love
that
it
to
so
happen.
much.
I just cried.
Drac had been just so my heart really felt him describing who he was in high school or secondary school. Sorry,
Mhm.
maths.
Yeah.
Who he was in secondary school, and I was saying that Ishton and Athenos, both of them, one of their main challenges, in addition to it being a group of people learning to love each other, is learning to accept love from other people.
Right.
And from between each other and also from the rest of the group. And very much that was the theme in our interactions with the rest of the group, especially at first. But that to do that and go through that process and have Athenos have all of these people come in and learn and love him and show him that is also an opportunity for Drac to go back and show love for who he was in high school. So that's those wonderful ways that TTRPGs make us grow in our hearts.
Much. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for re-saying that, because I just think that just makes me so happy. It's just, I want to make sure everyone heard that. So I just have a couple of questions, just lighter questions about your characters that I wanted to kind of go over, because I'm curious, having watched most of the show. So what is, in your opinion, the biggest challenge for your character right now, however you want to interpret that? We've kind of already touched on what your characters struggle with, but going forward or in their personality, what's their biggest challenge that they're wrestling with right now?
Good question.
I am not at liberty to say.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
That's fair.
Damn it, Sean.
We haven't quite uncovered some soup stuff where we have to go through some Kruthic meatballs to get there.
I love it.
Sift through the soup.
Through the soup. We gotta wade through some soup.
I think
Ties
There's
first,
so many
right?
mental images.
Ties first.
Jotra's is quick and easy. He needs, his biggest challenge is the world isn't where he came from. He needs to accept that. He needs to realize that. He needs to start adapting to that, because he treats everybody like they're his, family, or like the back at the, his old, where he came from. And he stubbornly refuses to accept that, because I think he needs to accept that things that aren't the way that he expects them to be aren't bad. He's just so afraid of everything that if things aren't like that, then he's afraid that he doesn't know nothing. And then if he doesn't know anything, then all he is afraid of everything. And so he has this struggle between accepting the world as it is, because somewhere deep down, Jotra knows that. He's smart enough to know that, you shouldn't just accept what people say, because people will lie to you. He knows all of these things, but he doesn't accept it because accepting it is scary. And so his fear is always he thinks his fear is based on all of these other things or whatever he's currently afraid of, but really it's the world not being known is what he's afraid of, and his acceptance with that is his biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Well, thank you.
Eridan's is pretty fast and easy too, because right now she's just learning about all these things that she did, and she doesn't know the specifics, like how bad was it, and at this current moment she doesn't have any sense of self. So learning these things about herself, she's afraid that that's what defines her, and she doesn't want it to define her because she doesn't agree with her past self. And it's very hard, especially now she's face to face with someone that she has hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it being so close and in her face, she just wants to make it right. And it's not something you can snap your fingers and fix.
Yeah.
And for Eridan, she doesn't remember, but Ishton has to carry that. And now whoever she was working with, are probably coming after Jotra, who's her best friend. And this was something that she did, and she's having a very hard time making peace with that, because her, as she is, who she woke up as, this new person, she doesn't agree with any of it, but that is tied to her, and she's having a very hard time forgiving herself for that.
Yeah.
For Athenos, I think he has a bit of he had, at least, maybe still does, a bit of survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Like the basic backstory is that I can't remember if this has been exposed or not. Everyone here gets a sneak peek about my backstory if it hasn't been told. I can't remember.
I love it.
But so as I said, he got thrown overboard in the middle of the sea by his mutiny. It was a mutiny, and he got thrown overboard. And as he and his captain were drowning, he kind of blacked out and kind of essentially had a vision of a primordial being offering him a second chance at life. And naturally, while you're dying, you're going to grasp at any opportunity to not be dying.
Yep.
So Athenos took it and ended up waking up on the shore of Ishtin's island. And after that, he kind of had a sense of like he survived, but for so long he was sure that his captain hadn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made him question, one, if he deserved to survive, and two, whether or not he actually really cared for his captain. Because instead of being like, hey, yeah, save me, but also save my captain, he kind of just grasped at that chance of, please save me, I don't want to die. So I think he's definitely gonna be struggling with that for a while. But yeah, I think that's his main struggle. His other struggle is that his patron just doesn't really ask for consent for a lot of the things he does to him.
Snake Daddy, don't ask for consent.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
We were not going to say that in the center. I'm supposed to do that?
No, his patron is a snake. It's a giant primordial snake.
Awesome.
And,
love it.
Was it me or was it, who said it? Made a joke of Snake Daddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember where that started.
It
can't
started
think.
somewhere.
That's
I don't
Ray.
know.
That was right.
There is like
Yup.
it wormy.
Shame, shame.
So it's been our inside joke forever.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Sorry.
You're
Sorry.
fine.
And the scenes and in our private chats. Snake Daddy.
Yeah, it's bad. It's almost borderline inappropriate.
Well, and like we're never borderline inappropriate. Like, come
I
on.
mean,
Like we never crossed that line. Oh my
It's true.
gosh.
This is fine.
we dance on it.
Are we going in order? Are we
Sure.
Yeah. Well, so Orin, he's always been a like flight-footed kind of guy. He always just like gets antsy when he's in one place for too long.
Mhm.
He finally found peace at the monastery of the Crimson Wood, and that he's actually stayed there for 10 years, which is amazing for him. And now he's being sent on this mission to research, like, well, why is this happening to the three sisters? And just everything that's being thrown at him has turned his world upside down. I mean,
Mhm.
he literally has been told the story for years of, Sispy being the self-sacrificial hero to save the material plane from these, invaders. And now it's like, wait, now she's trying to take over the fire plane and maybe invade other planes as well. Like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Fuck you, Ray.
The biggest challenge that everyone's character is currently facing is Ray. That sounds like that's kind of potentially what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
We literally all took our character sheets and said, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not inaccurate, to be fair. Technically, it's not inaccurate.
It's like, I want my character to grow. He's like, okay.
Oh, we can
That's
do
a friendly
that
idea.
for sure.
I had a professor in grad school who would say, without friction, there is no heat. And the DM's job is to bring in that friction.
Oh,
Bring the heat.
Yeah.
there's heat. There's
It's
fire.
hot.
We haven't gotten to
It's
the
just
ship
hot
yet.
in here.
Yeah.
I'm
Eyes are sweating.
sweating.
All right. Jen,
I think
did
we
you
skipped
answer this
Cole.
question? I don't remember if
No,
you.
I
Okay,
do.
would you like to?
Sure. No, of course. I actually just really thought of this answer as you asked the question,
Yeah.
and it flows a lot out of the last session that we just had.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ishtin thinks that her story is like kind of a redemption story or a vengeance story. Like, you took away my powers, you marked me with this, psychic mark of shame. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to get my powers back. Fuck you. And there's a
Yeah.
little bit of like, I'm going to be able to go and be around my daughter without my daughter feeling ashamed of me. Part of it too.
Mhm.
She thinks that's her story. So last session, though, we ended up going to her in-laws' house. Her husband was killed 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then she went through like the trial of the killer, and then ended up killing his killer, and then getting punished for it. And she's been awfully busy for the last 5 years and living off on an island by herself, away from people, except with her daughter. And we went to her in-laws' house, and I had worked with Ray on like the characters of her in-laws,
Mhm.
and kind of the idea that her mother-in-law was somebody who couldn't, like, was frozen in time, was always like very like, her son was the only thing that mattered to her, and she was just frozen in time with like when her son was alive. And Ray took that and ran with it just so beautifully. Like, we got to their house, and the whole house is like a museum of her son that is perfectly like kept clean, and everything is like, the walls are covered with like the metal work that he's done, and like you can feel in the way that Ray role played both of the parents how stuck they were.
Mhm.
And Ishtin doesn't think she is, but she absolutely is. And her behavior with her mother-in-law, they were like peas in a pod. They are both stuck. It's just that Ishtin has distracted herself with all of this other stuff.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how do I deal with that loss? And how do I love again, knowing that that can be taken from me at any time catastrophically, I think is really the biggest challenge for Ishtin. And I think right now, the two characters that really click with that challenge, definitely Athenos, who is the only reason why she even left that island. And like taking him in was like a pivotal moment of her life. And Jotra, who like there's her child right there to her in some ways, but also in a very challenging way as somebody else. And just, I mean, she has actually loved Jotra pretty much from the beginning, but being vulnerable enough to love someone who is so squishy and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think both of them, and in fact, actually, if anybody embodies who her husband was, it's also Jotra, because her husband, remember I said he heals people with his words. He healed people with his words. He would go and heal their hearts by speaking to them. And that is also like a lot of, so those two are the ones that are most where I think that challenge is playing out, although I know it's going to play out with Eridan and with Orin, and someday Soup will talk about himself and it'll play out with Soup. Soup is our mysterious one. Although she has that a little with Soup too, in the way that she protects Soup from crowds and carries Soup around, and like letting herself be that loving person when she's terrified of love, because of what happened to her. So
it makes me cry every time.
I love, for the record, I love how she instinctively just like does things that you would only do for people that you love. It doesn't think about it, and then goes back and is like, oh shit. Like,
I don't know, just ignore that. I don't know, that did not happen. No.
So I guess
my god, it makes me so happy.
That kind of goes in. Oh yeah, who was
Did we talk about Eridan's struggles?
Yeah.
Okay, for some reason I was like, in my brain,
I think we got everyone. I think we did.
Except for Soup.
I won't cop out. I'm not gonna be like, well, I'm mysterious, so I won't tell you. No. So Soup's main struggle is pretty simple. He has only had positive relationships, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but he's only had positive relationships with people he has been involved with professionally.
I love all the spoilers we're getting in this. This makes me very happy. I like this is not intentional, but I'm here for it.
Teasers.
So am I.
So anyone he's had a personal relationship with has not gone well, and so he has not formed personal relationships with these other people that he's with very well, and it even took him quite a while to call them his friends.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we noticed. We noticed. That moment.
Oh, that moment when he said when he was talking to Drusil.
Drusil,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
dragon.
Yeah. Talked about us as if we were parallel to his tribe.
So my next question is kind of going off what Jen said a little bit, but this is a question just for Ray. Out of all the NPCs in the game, which has been the most fun for you to play? And if you could turn any of them into like a long form PC for this game, who would you pick?
Oh, it has to be Torn.
Okay.
Torn,
I gotta do
Torn is a shifter paladin. He's a very rare kind of shifter where he actually has a separate peripheral eye on either side that can move by itself. Which there's a subclass of shifter which gives you bonuses to perception and wisdom. But when it comes to shifters, if you have a look at all of the canon material, there's not a lot that really describes them apart from, hey, they're kind of like animals.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go ahead and jump in with that and come up with an interesting idea. And so Torn happened, who is my Oath of the Watchers paladin who appeared in the first few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I love him dearly. He's kind of he's got these two separate peripheral eyes. He's very much like an owl in the sense that he can turn his head quite far, and he's quite aware with his senses.
Mm-hmm.
He's a super interesting character. His backstory is super, super interesting to me, and I kind of want to explore it at some point along with everybody else here. And it does have a few ties as well to certain individuals. So
Christian wants to explore Ton too.
Oh boy!
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I'm just
a family channel
over here.
That was another moment I really liked. I was so happy when Ton told me that, and I was like, yes. Slowly.
You see, for me, like, I'm used to my campaigns are like very 50-50. Sometimes I won't self-insert, sometimes I will, just because it's fun to play along. But looking at the amount of people in here and the amount of talent that we have in here, I was like, okay, I can explore this, but we'll go ahead and step back and kind of, it'd definitely be torn.
Awesome. All right. So
we
we don't
love
have
our owl boy.
Yeah. We're going to kind of go through the last set of questions real quick, just because I know y'all have been sitting here for a while. But the next question that I was really interested in that I definitely don't want to skip, which we've talked, like Drac has talked about it a little bit, but for people who haven't answered this question yet, how did you get introduced to TTRPGs and what got you into like this genre of games? And just how long have you been playing them? And what was your introduction to this whole weird like subset, like TTRPGs like are not like a thing that everyone's brought up with, like especially because I'm coming from the board gaming world. And it took me a while to like finally make that leap into TTRPGs. And yeah, for people who haven't already kind of discussed it, what was your introduction like?
I think mine, since I'm just hopping right in here, I was just such a nerd about everything else that the idea that I could like dive into this storytelling game was the thing that really attracted me. So on one of my friends, he like we were talking about it, he's like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna DM a game, we're gonna do this. And then he bought all of the books, he got everybody together, he did 2 sessions, he says, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, I can't do this, I quit. And so I was like, all right, well, we need a DM, so I guess you know what? I have a story I kind of want to tell. It's about the god of nightmares trying to merge the 2 planes of existence together, because for the reason that everybody should be able to live in their own dream, and it shouldn't be a place that you have to give up. And I was like, I want that to be a bad guy. That's part of my ongoing campaign on my own Twitch channel, if you're interested in that at all. But then, so I just took the group that was already together, and everybody wanted to. They're like, I want to find out what happens to my character. It's been 2 sessions, just enough for me to get attached. And so I put down my first character was Oath of the Ancients Tiefling Paladin, and so I just put him to the side, and then I got to bring him back later in the campaign because I'm a DM and I get to do whatever I want. So then I just started. I grabbed this module it was a free module off of Roll20 to get started. It was the Master's Vault. And so I was like, okay, we'll just try this. If we get to the end of this and we're all still loving it, I have an idea to make it keep going. And then so I just ran it through there. Got to do all these fun characters and different voices. And I was hooked and everybody else got hooked. So we've been streaming that game. First we were just doing videos on YouTube because people weren't comfortable streaming. Then we got comfortable with streaming. And so we've been we're going on near year 3 on that campaign. And that's how I got started.
Wow. That's awesome. Cole,
that's beautiful.
Do you have a TTRPG introduction story, an origin story?
Origin story.
Yeah, of course I do. So I actually didn't grow up like with gaming or anything. Like I don't know. I did a lot of reading. Like I didn't play like video games or board games or anything like that. And then I discovered the first video game I played was Skyrim. And then I fell in love with Mass Effect, which is still my favorite. So I fell in love with the genre, I don't know how long ago, long enough. And so then the way I discovered TTRPGs, I was volunteering as a crew leader with Habitat for Humanity. And we were painting houses and I was on the repair team. And we were all on different sections of the house. And I wasn't used to that because with my other volunteering, like our crew was always together. So I always had people to talk to. And I was like, fuck, I've listened to this playlist like 8,000 times. I need something to listen to. And all over at the time I had a Tumblr. Ooh.
The before times, yeah.
So Critical Role kept popping up and I was like, I don't know what this is. But then I saw an art of Molly. And I was like, who is this?
Who is this gentleman? Yeah.
Who is this lovely designed, colorful character? I'm here for this. They're pretty.
Yeah.
So I was painting houses for like 10 hours a day. So of course I blew through They were in like episode 14 at that point, and I blew through it in a week.
Yep.
And I was like, damn it. So then I wanted to play. I eventually found an in-person group, but then I moved back home. I found a streaming group. I bounced around, and eventually Jen and I made contact. And I was like, oh no, I love them. And we came up with Newt and Kepri for a one-shot. It's always the one shots. They get you.
They get you.
Which I wasn't even supposed to be in. I was supposed to do a different one and they messed up, and then I wasn't even supposed to be in that one.
Yeah. Oh, no. We were in one before that. We were in a Ravnica game.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And then we were like, wait. You're like really cool and stuff though. Like,
we should like hang out.
Can we keep doing this? And it turns out Jen's also like a language nerd, and we totally didn't write Primordial or anything. But yeah, that's how I ended up here.
My accent isn't actually because of the language that we actually made up together.
Oh my god, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Keep developing it and like publish it one day.
Yeah.
That would be so fucking cool.
I mean,
all right.
I have a little bit, just a precursor of my story. So that's how I started streaming. What I said earlier was how I started streaming TTRPGs. Well, I started watching TTRPGs because I'll be honest, I reached a point in my university life where I got kind of depressed. And for some reason, I don't know, I guess it might be different for everyone, but it got to a point where I couldn't sleep in complete silence. I needed something playing. And back then I was on Twitch constantly watching gaming Twitch streamers. And so I think I fell asleep one day, and the streamer I was watching raided a TTRPG channel. So I kind of woke up in the middle of a session, like,
that's awesome. I love that so much.
This is an actual origin story.
I love this. You woke up with no memory of your past, and all that surrounds you is TTRPGs. You're like, I guess this is my destiny now. This is what I meant to do. We'll uncover my backstory later, but here I am. Like, I love that.
That's wonderful.
So I kind of woke up and I was like, oh, okay, this is like they're reading a story, but it's not reading, it's coming up with a story on the fly. Okay, this is the thing, I guess. And so I started, that campaign was interesting, but it wasn't like the genre I was very interested in. So after I was like, okay, let me just look for TTRPGs in general. And I moved on to YouTube, where I found Geek and Sundry.
Yep. I feel like that got a lot of people. Geek and Sundry, I feel like, started a lot of people's quests into like board games and TTRPGs in general.
But I was one of the few people who didn't and still hasn't watched Critical Role.
Oh, damn.
Critical Role wasn't mine. I tried watching the first episode. I just couldn't get into it. Sean as well, yeah. I watched, the first one was called Callisto 6. It was on Geek and Sundry by Eric Campbell. There's another DM who doesn't, just because he was on Geek and Sundry at the same time as Matt Mercer, he never got the recognition he deserved. Eric Campbell is an amazing
Taliesin is on that one, isn't he? Taliesin Jaffe?
He made an appearance. He was a guest.
Yeah, he comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, Bonnie Gordon's on that one.
Good.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Library Bards. Okay. So, so I watched that and realized how awesome it was that they made stories together on the fly. And this is at a time where I just didn't have the mental capacity to read, because I used to love reading. I love stories. Like, it was to a point where if I got in trouble in school, my mum would punish me by taking away my books. So it got into a point where I just couldn't get myself to read anymore because of just that like kind of depression I was going through. And this is like the middle ground where I could still enjoy a story but not have to focus on a book to do it. And then after that, I started watching more TTRPGs, found Hyper RPG, found Kolok, and then the rest is history.
Yay, I love that.
My introduction to TTRPGs was actually D&D. A good buddy of mine introduced me to, he said, hey, like, I want to start, playing D&D. Do you want to play with us? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And we actually formed the game at my bachelor party, which took place at the Renaissance Fair.
Wait, I have so many questions.
Okay.
I have so many thoughts.
My best woman really moved away before we got married. So she wasn't really available to like do the like bachelor party thing. So my buddy Tim stepped up and kind of took charge of it, and he was like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know, I just want to hang out with a bunch of people and drink. That's all I want to do. And and he was like, well, it's Ren Fair right now and the Pirate Weekend is going on, like, do you want to go to that? And I was like, dude, that sounds fucking awesome. Yeah, let's do that.
Yes.
And during that time, we had the conversation of like, hey, let's start a D&D game. Tim was gonna DM. So that was my introduction, and I bought the player's handbook. I bought a set of dice, which turned into like a million set of dice.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And then what got me into streaming D&D was, and this is total fortuitous, is a mutual friend of Jen and mine posted on Facebook a joke, like, as this is going to be me like in a few weeks, and she posted it was Patton Oswalt on Reno 911 dressed in plate mail, like, I have boots of escaping, and I made a comment on it, and then she was like, oh, you should join our game. And I was like, well, who's the DM? And then Jen messaged me. She's like, I'm the DM. You're welcome to join my game. Yes.
I love that.
It was so fortuitous.
I went,
yep. That's awesome.
Every time I think I can't love this group of people more.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
My heart somehow grows 10 sizes.
When you find out about the Renfair bachelor party,
That's
D&D.
so
That's just so awesome.
So Adam.
If my
Fucking
bachelorette party's
wholesome.
not at a Ren Fair now, I'm gonna be really sad. Now that's kind of all I want. That sounds fantastic. Oh my god, if any of my friends are listening to this, that's what I want. I don't want anything else. That's what I want. Okay, Ray, do you want to do a TTRPG introduction story if you have one?
Yeah, sure. I have two.
Ooh,
I have my
interesting.
initial introduction, and then I have my reintroduction. So to
Okay.
speak.
Okay.
Forged
So I started
from the
playing.
flames. Rise
I
like a
started
phoenix.
playing 8 years ago. A group of friends of mine found their dad's copy of Spelljammer, and nobody wanted to DM it.
Okay.
So I suddenly started getting messages of, "Hey, how do you feel about fantasy? How do you feel about space?" And I'm like, "Space? I'm in. I don't care what it is. I'm in."
Spice.
Yeah, so my first time ever was DMing 2E D&D, which is hell.
Oh my god. Ah.
Yeah, D&D 2E is just, hey, how do I kill the player in the most efficient way possible?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So when I started, I was actually like super rules heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I was that guy. When I started, I was that guy.
Gotcha. I see.
Mm-hmm. And then I tried out a few different systems back then. Ended up going into a Numenera game and had a super bad experience at the table, which stopped me from playing TTRPGs entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and put them all down. I stopped working on the homebrew that I was working on, and then worked to put it into a book. And a little bit of time passed, and then I found just a random person on my Twitter retweeted a group looking for players, joined, and then met all of these lovely people, and yeah,
Oh, I love
the rest
that.
happened how it did.
Awesome. Jen, do you have an introduction story?
And mine is kind of a dual one too. I am very much the senior member of this group, like boy a lot. And I had like just a little bit of exposure to like 2E when I was a kid, but what I mostly started with, because I was dating a guy who was doing it in college, there's a lot of us who would have that story if we were like honest. We played Vampire the Masquerade as a LARP for 5 years on our our university campus. Like, so we ran around dressed up like vampires.
LARPing was your introduction?
LARPing was my introduction.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is okay. That's very impressive. I feel like LARPing is the thing that scares everyone. I feel like they're like, oh, I can do the in your head thing, but the second you like dress up and actually run around, that's scary. That's very like telling, I think, that you're like, all right, we're doing this now. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have no shame as a nerd. Like, I
love that.
I'm fine. I don't care who thinks I'm a nerd. I go for it. I love it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's so me. And we would like make costumes out of like cardboard and like duct tape and construction paper, and
Yeah.
like we were like into it. It was great, and we were running around our university campus like that. Like, we don't care,
I
come see us.
Love that so
it's
much.
great. Yeah, and then my boyfriend at the time was also a really brilliant DM of Dungeons and Dragons. Like,
Mhm.
just amazing. Like, we played a 5-year campaign
Oh my
and
God.
then played for 3 years after that as the next was the children of the original
That's so cool.
group.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
That's
we
so
had
cool.
like, yeah, we had one where we each made up the country that our characters were from, and there was like a year-long secret about my character that came out at the end, like near the end, that was like a big game changer. Like, it was brilliant, it was wonderful.
Wow.
It was very immersive, and it was a great group of people, and we really felt and experienced our characters.
Mhm.
And then I broke up with him, and the TTRPG world was a very different place back in the
Right.
90s.
I bet. Yeah.
I very much felt like I had to be straight and cis
Mhm.
to hold on to the people who played. To be myself, I really had to leave behind everyone that I knew who played, and it was heartbreaking,
I bet.
just utterly heartbreaking. And also, I had definitely been given the very strong impression, we played 3.5 for most, but we played other systems too, but
Right.
that was the main one, that AFABs were probably not going to want to learn all the rules, and certainly should not expect that they might DM a game of
Ugh.
D&D. So for like 15 years ish, I didn't play. And then like 2 years ago, I got really, really sick.
Mhm.
I got like a mystery stomach disease where I could not really digest food, and I was really weak. And so I was in bed, unless I was at work, I was in bed for 4 months. And so Critical Role is going to come up here, but maybe a little bit differently than for most. I started watching it,
Yeah.
and I very much loved it, and they kept me company while
Yeah.
I was sick. But I also started to hear people say things like, don't expect your games to be anything like this. These are professional voice actors. They're la 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 la. You can't be in, like, not everybody's
Yeah, that's-
Matt Mercer. Unless
that
I would hear that all the
Rhetoric
time.
is everywhere. It's still
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, but those were the games I was in were like that.
Mhm.
I was in lots of different games like that. I know a lot of people who bring their heart and soul to their character and can perform it. And I'm not trying to in any way minimize how amazing they are as performers. And, you know, they are professional actors, and Matt Mercer is brilliant, but there are other ways of being a brilliant DM as well.
It takes
And
different
other
forms.
ways. Yeah, and I immediately saw that the reason why that group is so brilliant is not because they're professional actors, it's because they're friends who love each other. And you could see
Yeah,
that
that's
in all
such a
of their
good
interviews.
nail and head.
Yes.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah,
Like that, absolutely,
why.
1000%.
Yeah, they can be vulnerable with each other, they can take risks with each other, they can
Yeah.
have characters with depth with each other, and there's just joy there, and that's why they're so compelling. So I said, well, fuck, I've got friends who love each other.
Yeah.
And no one is going to initiate this if I don't. So I learned the rules, and I started a game, and then I slowly started to try to gather people around me who I saw had that heart and soul and that like openness and that vulnerability and that ability to connect, and found some
I love
absolutely
it.
brilliant DMs who I could play under. And that's my reintroduction, and the world now where I can be non-binary and out, where I can be queer, married to a woman, talking about my wife, playing with my wife,
Yeah.
like, and running games and not feeling insecure about being an AFAB. I can be insecure about other things, but not that. It's a totally different world. And I know it's not a perfect world, but as like a older generation senior member of the TTRPG community, what this community has done and how far it has come in those 15 years that I was gone is just incredible and wonderful, and like literally life-saving
Absolutely.
for a lot of, you know, marginalized folk who find a home and find family. And so that's my story.
Absolutely. That was
If you ever
wonderful.
find yourself in the situation where you get the opportunity to play with Jen's wife, that is a rare
Yes,
treat.
I'm so lucky. I'm so happy.
I got to make her
true.
a blue Power Ranger.
Yes.
It was amazing.
You're
That's awesome.
so good at role play, especially for somebody who started off as like, I'm not really into this.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, she'll say, I hate D&D. Can I play tomorrow?
Can I play? Can I buy
Oh
this
my
new
God.
set of dice? Like,
Oh, I
love
love
Clara.
it so much.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Makes me so happy.
I would like to say that moment that you said, Jen, that part where like if no one else is gonna start this unless I do, that is like Jen. That is so
Yeah.
Jen.
Yeah.
Friends who roll dice. Why? Because if Jen wasn't going to do it, then no one
was going to.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's like that's Jen hitting Jen as a nail on the head.
Oh.
Oh my god, wait, is that Newt playing whack-a-mole?
Driving
cute.
force of nature, certainly.
Sean, did you have a story you wanted to share about like, introduction to TTRPGs?
Sure. So I started playing TTRPGs about 11 years ago. I was part of an all-male university chorus, and we were all a bunch of nerds. And I just didn't think I was nerdy enough to play TTRPGs and hadn't really known anything about them. And then a few of the guys in the group were like, yeah, we're all going to go over to, so-and-so's later. And I'm like, well, what are you guys doing? Well, we're playing D&D. And I'm like, you guys play D&D? Like, how does that work? Like, and they're like, I mean, you can come watch. And I'm like, is it like a show? Like, I knew nothing.
Yeah.
And they were just like, just you'll figure it out. Just come watch. And I watched these guys like play these amazing characters and do all these like fun things. And I was like, this is so entertaining just to be in the same room as this going on. And I was like, I want to do this. So I started on 4th edition, moved backward to 3.5 Pathfinder, and then moved into 5th edition, and then started playing other TTRPGs. But I didn't actually start streaming or interacting with people online until about 3 years ago. And the idea of streaming was completely foreign to me, but I hopped on TTRPG Twitter and met a few people on there that were running games, met some complete strangers, met my best friend in the very first stream game. He lives over in the UK, and we have gone back and forth to visit each other like so many times now. Just love that guy. But
I love that so much. Yes.
This group, I'll fast forward over a bunch of other stuff that's been happening in the past few years. Yeah, exactly. But Cole, so I DM'd Cole in a one-shot over at Ray Rolls, I believe. And then
one-shots.
Met Cole at PAX Unplugged, which was an amazing moment. It was literally like a twirl hug, like of oh my gosh, and it was like, you're so small.
I was
oh my god, Ray, you need to meet Cole. Oh my god, Ray.
Me, Ray?
Okay, so
that Ray.
yes, you.
Me, Ray.
Scorching Ray.
Hi.
Scorching
All everyone. Yes, everyone needs to meet me.
Scorching
please.
Ray is 6'1" as well.
Yep.
Well, oh, what?
Cole is
Yeah,
4'11".
I'm very tall.
Yeah, she's the same height as me.
I'm 4'11".
Oh my gosh, you're so small.
Cole is so full of energy, and you're just like, how is all of you packaged into this person?
And I'm like,
I'm the Energizer Bunny. I don't ever stop.
oh, I love that so much. Oh my
That's
god.
It was great because everyone I met, one of our cast members at the Gods We Know is also like 6'4".
Oh my god.
So first time I met him, he picked me up and swung me. My feet cleared the table. I was nowhere in danger of hitting it. I was like, oh wow, look
It's
at
so
that.
high from up here, yeah.
Oh gee whiz. Yes,
yeah, so
I remember walking past Sean and just being like, I know you. Please hug me.
Literally,
if
it
you
was a
let me.
double take. It was like, wait a minute, I know you.
Oh, that's so wholesome. I love that so much.
It was great.
So many
but yeah,
stories
Cole-
in our
Cole
community
invited me to
are
know
cool.
these people.
Sorry, Sean.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Cole invited me to know these people. The end.
So I guess my very last question for you all, and thank you all first of all for sticking out all the tech issues and hanging out with me for this whole thing. My last question is just where do you see Friends Who Roll Dice going? Like, what is the next step for you all in this channel? And like, if this channel stays around for the next like 5 years, like where do you see it? What's your goal with this channel in the long run?
It will.
It will. I'm not saying that as I'm doubtful, but you never know.
I love how he said that kind of like a warlock patron.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You will go forward.
Yeah, do it in the patron voice, Ray.
Yes. Snake Daddy voice.
Oh, we can't say it. We can't do it. Stop.
Wait. Do it in the
One
snake
thing is
voice.
definitely
Oh yeah.
Drac.
One thing we
Oh,
definitely
Lord.
wanted to just have more shows.
Mhm.
Right now we have 2 D&D shows, and we're moving on to a third one with third show. It's going to be Monster Hearts.
Mhm.
I know we want to kind of move away from D&D.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if people are up to date with the TTRPG world. Wizards of the Coast hasn't been, they need to fix up on some stuff basically. And also just generally because D&D isn't the only game. D&D is far from the best TTRPG. It was the first one I played, and honestly, I played a bunch of others after that, and I would have preferred any of those as my first
Right.
D&D.
I think a lot of what I've learned over the last few years that I've been part of the community is that there are different ways to tell a story through games, and I think there's games that are more geared towards that, and I think that's what we're really focused on is like when, you know, even like I just watched last week's episode, and like being able to tell stories with people, and you know, I think like that's the focus, because like I was watching, you know, while I was drawing and, you know, laughing along with my friends and just like like that's all I want, you know. And I think also too, like there's so many games that even people in our own Discord are making, and we want to play those, you know, because like they're written by our friends, and we have really talented people that aren't getting attention. Like we played Keep the Lantern Lit for Pride, and that was written by the Nerdy Niffler, Val on Twitter, and it was amazing. And she ran it for us, and it was lovely and beautiful. And then we had the creator of Flying Circus run Flying Circus, and that was really cool. And there's just like, there's so much out there, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we just want
I just want people to fall in love with each other.
You know what? I think, well, one thing we talked about a lot, and like the main thing that I personally want in 5 years is every time you're like if you're everybody's introduction story was a lot of them were, I saw this group and I wanted to be part of it, and I want to be, when you first are getting into this community and you first have a game that you want to dive into the community. I want to be the place that you imagine it's going to be. I want to be the place that lives up to those expectations. I want to be the place where you don't go from it and tell the horror story and create your own or do something. You don't have the need to go anywhere else. You can get started here. You can love it here. You can stay here as long as you want, and you can do the things you want. I want to be that community you first imagined. That's 5 years.
I love that.
And hopefully sooner.
Yeah.
That description was fantastic. That
yes.
Just a big yes. A yes about all of that. Oh my gosh, I could not. Yeah.
To me, forward.
Did Drac get to finish? Because I think you still had.
Oh,
you were still talking.
Oh no, it's fine.
You got it.
It's fine.
Just making sure.
I was just gonna say, to me, forward is the nest. Like you can go ahead and jump out, and you would have flown through heat waves. You would have flown through storms, whatever. But you have a place to land, and that is a safe place, and that is a place where you can go ahead and just be you and do what you want to do. And that's what I want. Like, I'm not here for fame, money, none of that crap. That's not important. To me, it's giving people that space. I just want more. I want more people. I want more people jumping in and playing games together. I want more people sharing and interacting. And I want more people to feel free and comfortable to be who they are and not feel like they have to hide behind anything. That to me is the most important thing.
I want to echo what everyone else said, and Ty, you gave me goosebumps too. So definitely, I think that's it summarizes so much. I would say, I think in addition, and we haven't been around for all that long, so it's really, it's funny, like we've been around for like 3 months and so much.
In a couple of weeks.
You've grown so fast in 3 months. Can I just say, like, congratulations. You like
Thank
that
you.
like that takes a long time to build such an active community who want to engage with you outside the stream. Like it's one to get people to watch the stream, right? And it's like, okay, it's asking a lot of the viewers to then like join the Discord and then engage in these games.
Yeah.
And the fact that like that's happened so fast for you is just, like, please don't take that like lightly as a thing that you've built, that people like immediately they see you and they're like, I want to engage with these people outside of like chat. That is hard to do, and you all have done that really well, and just be proud of yourselves for that, please. Like
Well,
it's
and-
really impressive.
And the fact that the spirit of what we do has come across so clearly.
Absolutely.
And I
That's
think
what's
that,
hitting me the hardest. Yeah.
that Pride Month also really solidified for me, I think, a connection, like what that meant to me on a larger scale and then like a more 5-year thing, because also like part of being a place where people can come and be safe. And I say this, I one of my major jobs in meat space life, though it's not meat space life right now, it's online too, is this a therapist for trans folk. I'm a gender therapist, especially for young adults and adolescents. And one of the things I talk about to people when I'm training on how to be a good advocate or a support for them is, if you're not advocating for them when they're not in the room, then you are not their ally.
Mm-hmm.
And the same is true for our community. Like we want our community to truly be a place that is full of people with different perspectives, coming from different walks of life, LGBTQIA and straight, and allies, and not all white, and having substantial racial diversity as well. That's what we would like. We cannot call ourselves to that if we're not advocating for justice.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing for that month. And there's a Cornell West quote. I finally figured out who it was, because I heard this quote from Laverne Cox, but she credited Cornell West. So it's Cornell West, which is justice is what love looks like in public. And if one of the things that Pride Month, I think, clarified for us was that the love that we want our community to embody needs also to be expressed by doing things to contribute to the way that our community members are experiencing their lives, and the challenges they're experiencing in the larger community in the way that we can. I mean, there's only so much that we can do.
Right.
But that really clarified. So that is something we very much want to be part of what force, right?
Yeah, I think you said it quite well, Jen. The only thing I would say, or if the thing that comes to mind, is diversity is not a goal; it is a result of certain behavior. And so I think that our community that we're trying to create in 5 years is going to be diverse because of what it is, because everyone can be open, because everybody can be themselves, and because everybody is friends.
Who rolled dice?
Who rolled dice?
Oh well, I can't imagine a better way to end that. That was beautiful, everyone. Thank you all so much. Real quick, where can people find you if they found this interview interesting?
On Friends Who Roll Dice. I'm sorry.
Yep, so twitch.tv / Friends Who Roll
Yeah,
Dice. Thank you, Barefoot, for putting that in the chat. Go follow them, please. And social medias, what's the social media situation for you all?
I think on Twitter it's Friends Roll Dice, because we couldn't fit Friends Who Roll Dice.
Yeah.
It's Friends Roll Dice, Mind and Martyr, and The Gods We Know are our three Twitter our company ones, and then our personal ones should be
below you. Yeah.
I'm happy to. Okay.
Yeah, there should be all below you. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I'm so sorry about the technical difficulties. I knew something was gonna go wrong this weekend, and I knew it, and it happened. But thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you all so much for taking this weird chunk of time out of your Saturday night to come on and talk to everyone. And chat, I really hope that you can find the love for this community that I have, and please go follow them on Twitch. They're wonderful. If you're not sure how to get into TTRPGs, like, I could not recommend a better place for you to start than these folks right here. I'm being so serious. Like, if you're, I don't know, I'm into board games, because we have a lot of board game folks who follow us. If you're like, I don't know how to do the TTRPG things, follow Friends. They have done it really well, and they will be a great home for you to get started. Thank you all so much for being here. I will be back Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are doing 3 more segments to round up the Indie Creator Spotlight. We have Battle of the Boy Bands with Banana Chan, who is so speaking about really cool RPGs. Zhangxi Blood in the Banquet Hall is on Kickstarter right now, which is an RPG that she's working on, and I get to interview her, and I'm a little not okay. I'm freaking out a little bit that I get to talk to her. So she's gonna be on at 2 p.m. So if you're interested to see her other work, she's going to be demoing Battle of the Boy Bands, which is a board game she worked on, but I'm going to ask her about Zhangxi a little bit because it's so cool. I'm not going to not talk to her about it. So check that out. And then after that, we'll be talking with Gil Hova of Formal Ferrets with his games Rival Networks and check-in cards, which is a really helpful tool that you can use to check in with your friends when you're playing games together. And then lastly, I'm going to be playing a non-D&D RPG, which is Absolution in Brass, which was made by our really good friend Sharang Biswas, and so I'm really excited.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. He was a childhood friend of Max, so he's coming on and he's demoing Absolution in Brass for me, Max, and Spring. So it's gonna be an interesting time. It'll be a really great way to end out this whole event. Again, thank you all so much for being here. We're gonna go to the end card. But I love you all so much, and I will see you, chat. I'll see you tomorrow on Sunday. All right, good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.